So I've been secret shopping gyms for the past couple of weeks, and I have gained an insane amount of knowledge on what is and is not happening in the gym industry right now. And I want to share it with you in this video. Specifically, I want to talk to you about what is currently costing you leads and sales. And this is from practical experience from what I have seen going on right this second in these gyms that I have been secret shopping. And no, we're not going to name names here, but we are all likely guilty of one or more of the things that I want to discuss with you in this video. What's going on, you guys? My name is Jeff Burlingame. I am a sales nerd, especially when it comes to the sales process. And what I like to do on this channel is break down real world scenarios and share with you opportunities for improvement when it comes to your sales cycle and your sales process. So this channel will likely be a resource for you if you're looking to increase your sales opportunities. Stay tuned. We drop videos every single week. All right, let's get to it. To the whiteboard. Okay, so like I mentioned, I have been secret shopping gyms. What does that process entail? Well, I go top to bottom, top of funnel to bottom of funnel with them. I will scan their website and compare it against best practices. I will look for the calls to action. I'll look at their free guides. I will go through the booking process. I will get onto their email newsletter. I'll get into their automations and see what is actually kicking out. I'll book something and see if I get a personal outreach, maybe a video, maybe a voice note. I'll call their gym and see what that process is like. If somebody answers, what do they say? What if I ask about price? How do they handle it? I cover all of that, and then what I've been doing with clients of mine is I'll actually review one of their sales calls, a sales recording, or a recorded role play amongst their team. So it gives me a chance to see what the sales process is and assess the selling skills of them and or their team. So it really gives you the whole perspective of the entire sales process that is installed in that particular business. And then I can come back to them with very specific feedback on what it is that they should be doing or what they should work on and in what order. Do this first, then this, then this, and this. So that's a little insight on my process. But in this video, I wanted to share with you some of the most consistent findings I've had. So this is happening at like every location, not just some. And maybe these are true for you as well. So pay attention to this video if it comes up like, hey, my gym does that, or maybe just call your own gym and see what happens, or go through your own booking process, because a lot of this is just simple checks and balances. But until you have those outside eyes, you really don't know what you don't know. So let's get into it. From the top, I hit the website first. Your website needs to be professional, presentable, and it needs to check a couple of boxes. So I like to lean on Donald Miller's story brand here. If you guys go check out the story brand framework, he actually has a caveman test that you can put up against your website. Essentially, if a person cannot go to your website and very simply be able to tell exactly what it is that you do in like a second or less, it's an ineffective website. If they then cannot very simply book an appointment with you, it is an ineffective website. If your calls to action are not clear, it's an ineffective website, so on and so forth, right? So you need to pass the caveman test first. So that is one thing that I do right off the bat, is I hit the website and I say, if I didn't know this was a gym already, how would I know? How would a person who randomly wound up on this website know what this company does? So I take that outside eyes perspective. What I'm looking for there is I want an image right at the top that shows happy people working out in the gym facility. So if all you have is a group shot or an empty gym shot, you're not helping yourself. Step it up, change the picture, make it bright, make it inviting. All these like dark, like black and white images. They look really cool. They're very photogenic, but they are not very consumer friendly. So I would consider changing that. The next thing I look for is clear calls to action. Too many times I see this beautiful website theme where everything's like branded colors and all of that, but the buttons just blend in. They're like a white button. Maybe I've seen a beige button that I couldn't find for the life of me. Listen, I get it. It fits your branding. The problem is that if I can't find it, your potential clients can't find it either. So I always recommend, and this is again going back to the story brand, make it pop, make that button stand out, pick an obnoxiously bright, crazy color so that nobody could miss it even if they tried. The next thing I look for is the booking process. Think of it this way, people are not spending tens of minutes on your website. They're spending tens of seconds on your website. So I want to see what you do, get a good idea, and I'm going straight to the booking to find out more. I might go to a pricing page, and if you have pricing on your website, you are missing out on an opportunity. You should make that into a contact form or something where they have to reach out to you so that you can engage in a conversation. That's the story for another video. For what we're talking about today, though, specifically, I want that call to action to stand out. I want it to say book your free intro session. And then when I click it, I need a very simple process where you'll get my name, phone number, and email. And then I will click a time that works for me. So it should be an interactive calendar app of some sort. Whether you use something simple like Calendly or HubSpot or whatever it is that you're using, it needs to be a simple and clean user interface. So make sure that that is clean, and make sure you have enough availability, because I did run into the issue a few times where there just was no availability. So I could be on your website when I am interested, when I'm a hot lead, and just never book because there was no time to book. So open up your calendars, make sure you got room for that opportunity as well. One thing that I ran into pretty consistently here is that we're asking for too much. From a marketing perspective, when we ask for more required information, so you have more required fields on your form, when you go from name and email to name, phone number, and email, to name, phone number, email, and what are your goals, to adding in 5 or 6 other questions, you make it more difficult for your potential clients to book the appointment, and they are less likely to complete the form and go through the booking. This is where automations can save you, because you can always have an automation before that where they click the book now and they fill in that information, then it goes to the calendar, then it's requiring more information, and then automations kind of engage and they start shooting out emails and text messages and like, hey, can we help you and all that. But you are already running up hills backwards in snow, right? Like, you are already making this very difficult for yourself. So just simplify. Don't require as much information. So then I fill out that form and I book the appointment. After I book the appointment, I look for what happens next. Do I just get an automation? Does that automation say, hey, we're looking forward to seeing you? Or do I get an additional outreach, something personal, maybe a voice message, maybe a video message? I did have one of the gyms that I secret shopped, the owner sent me a video message, and I thought that that was a great touch. And he said my name, and he spoke to my goals that I put in there, and it was awesome. That's what I would love to see every gym do. Most of the other gyms, that didn't happen. All I was getting was a quick automation. If anything, I might get an additional email that says what to expect, which is a great additional touch that you could add as well. And in some cases, I got a broken automation where an automation came through and it said, click these links. And the links were not clickable, which means probably 90% of the people who get that automation, maybe 95% of the people that get that automation will not copy it and paste it into your URL for whatever your internet browser is, right? We can't ask for extra steps. We need the least amount of steps possible. We need to make the process exceedingly simple, which makes it easier for you to get more opportunity, more people to talk to. You can't sell to an empty chair, so you really need to make it easy and lay out the runway for your potential clients. From here, we get to the cold call. The cold call is fun. Now, in my experience, I'm unfortunately running an answer rate of about 10%. So this is something I would love to see gyms step up, whether you get a Google Voice number or you have a burner cell phone or like an additional cell phone that you buy for the gym specifically, and like one person carries that around, or you ring through to a specific employee that needs to be answering between the hours of like 9 and 5, for example, or you engage a VA service or whatever. There's AI that does this now. Something needs to be in place where I can get a hold of someone. And worst case scenario, it rings through and your voicemail actually works, because I ran into a few times, unfortunately, a voice mailbox that wasn't even set up. Now, if I'm scoping gyms in your area, I'm looking at a 5-mile radius, I got 3 choices, I call you, it rings to no one, and then the voicemail says, this voice mailbox is not set up, or it just says, this phone number, leave a message, beep. I'm not gonna leave a message. I'm moving on to the second gym on the list. So again, lost opportunity is happening. Now, if they do answer, that's where I'm looking for, what is the training going on with the staff? Do they have a script? Do they know how to handle tough questions like, what's the price? Because that's an easy way to lose a sales opportunity again. So do they know to respond to that question in the right way? Something, for example, like, well, the answer is, Mrs. Jones, it depends. We have many different programs, and what I'd love to do is just ask you a few quick questions so that I can better guide you towards the right option. Is that fair enough? They say yes, you ask a few questions, and then you pivot and you just book an appointment. So I'd love to sit down with you and get more dialed in on exactly what it is that you need. So let's book a time. I've got Thursday and Friday open. What works for you? And then just dial in a time, get it done, book the appointment, see them when they're there. Again, you can't sell to an empty chair. And it's not fair to you or to them to just disclose price because you haven't had the opportunity to share the value. There is no value. How much is your gym? $200. Later, like, why is it $200? What do you offer? I don't know, and you haven't had a chance to share it. That's not fair to either of us. So always sell the appointment. Just get them on the appointment. Get them in the gym. Get a chance to talk to them, and then you have a chance to sell. So that's some of the stuff that I look for. Now, again, since nobody's answering their phones, I haven't had enough of these conversations. But as I continue to do these, I'm going to share more and more of my results with you guys. That brings us to lead magnets. So what happens if I hit your website and I'm not ready to book an appointment? What's your fallback, your safety net? Your safety net should come in the form of something of value because we're in this trust-based economy. You have to build trust. If I'm not ready now, that doesn't mean I won't be ready ever. I might be ready at a later time, assuming you've built up enough trust with me. One of the best ways to do that is give away your best stuff for free. So what do you have? It's right up here. That's your hint. Take your knowledge, put it on paper, or a PDF, because you're not just going to be dishing out paper, but put together a one-page PDF. Just make sure that it has a ton of value in it and that it includes a call to action, a what's next, right? So I get through this guide, I learn some stuff, maybe I get some results. Awesome. What do I do now? Click this link to book an appointment. Call this number to book an appointment. Download this additional guide here, whatever it is, just make sure there's an additional step. And if you don't have a lead magnet, put one together, put it on your website. And I found this, actually, there was an interaction I had with one gym where they mentioned we do have a lead magnet, but nobody downloads it. And I went to their website and it's because a lead magnet was at the bottom of their website, very bottom, not in the footer, like just the bottom of the homepage. Nobody is scrolling that far. Again, keep in mind, people aren't spending tens of minutes on your website, they're spending tens of seconds. So you don't have that much time. They will not get to the bottom of that webpage, I promise you that. So instead, consider putting it at the top. One of the gyms that I secret shopped actually had a little banner right at the top so that people could click it right away. This is a great idea. Do that. So make it easy to access, easy to see. It was, this particular website is a women's only gym and they had white and pink type colors. So it was a big pink banner, which stood out. It was perfect. So that is what you want to do. And then make it clear what the value is. Now, on a side note, that gym, unfortunately, their lead magnet was definitely not ideal. The problem with their lead magnet is while it held a ton of value, it would actually send users off to a different website, a completely different company with no calls to action to lead them back to this particular gym. And while the guide no doubt had a ton of value on the part of the consumer, it unfortunately would hold no value for the gym because it wouldn't direct this particular person back to the gym to book an appointment, to book a call or whatever. So that's a lost sales opportunity. You've given them value and they'll go through the guide, but they'll forget what to do next. They might even forget what gym they got it from because it was not a white labeled product. It was just like under this nutrition company. So again, put value in it, but make sure that it has a clear call to action that drives people back to your business, not somebody else's business, right? You can support others and link them too, but make sure that your brand stands out as well because they need to come back to you. Okay, so that brings us to the big show, the presentation. So another part of the secret shopping process that I like to do is I will review a recorded sales call, or because in some states, it is not legal to record a call at all. In other states, you just have to let them know that you're recording the call, but that makes it awkward. So one thing that I say is like, hey, if you're on Zoom, great, just record the Zoom. Nobody cares about that these days. If you're in person and you only sell in person, that's okay. Just record a role play session with whatever particular staff members you want to have assessed in terms of their selling skills. So we keep it simple. Hey, just sit down, do a 30-minute role play session, go through a full appointment, make it tough, give them some objections, and I'll just assess what I get from that. Cool? Cool. So that is something you can do as well, very easily. That said, after reviewing the outline of their sales process and some of these recordings, here are some of the common red flags that I'm running into. Number one, people are not spending enough time. with these individuals. You have a completely cold prospect, you have somebody come in through a Facebook ad, you have somebody who's never worked out before, you have somebody who, hasn't met you, hasn't seen your gym. Today is the first time they've heard anything about you, and they're sitting down in front of you. And you spend 10 minutes talking about how you're great, showing a few testimonials, and trying to close a sale. You, again, are running uphill backwards in the snow. You're making this way harder than it has to be. Just spend a little more time in discovery, figuring out what this person's needs are, what their desire is, what their urgency level is. You just have to ask more questions. And when you only spend 10 minutes on a no sweat intro, there is not enough time to uncover that information. You essentially are only closing the people who already were gonna buy. In sales, we call those lay down sales. They were gonna buy no matter what. You just had to not mess it up. And some people still mess it up. So why are we making it harder than it has to be? Just spend an extra 10 to 15 minutes in discovery asking questions. It will change everything. And it also shows this person that you care. And people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So show them you care. Ask questions. Make it about them, not about you. I don't care how many certifications you have. I don't care how long you've been in business. I don't care how many thousands of people have gone through your gym. I care about me. So let's talk about me and make this appointment about me. Another thing that I came across through these recordings was that we all need to work on our active listening. So there was a lot of like asking a question and then the person would say something and then there was like a long awkward pause. What I recommend here is practice shorthand, make quick notes, and pay attention to what they're saying, and just try to think of this as like normal dialogue. This is just a conversation. One thing you can do is you can remove awkward pauses by simply repeating back to them what they said as you write it down. That can help with comprehension as well. So just something else I noticed. In addition to that, towards the end of the sale, I was noticing that there really wasn't much objection handling going on. So it was like they could present an objection and we would just go, oh no, the end, and that was it. So it just didn't seem like there was a clear system that was being followed to handle objections. So the individuals just weren't comfortable with the process, therefore they wouldn't try. And that's a problem because that is, again, huge missed opportunity. An objection is not a rejection. They are not saying no, not ever. They're saying no, not now, or no, not with the information I have in front of me. And if we just spend a little time working through the problem together and thinking out loud, oftentimes we can come to a win-win solution and nobody feels like they got pushed into a sale. You just have to get rid of that fear. Speaking of the call process, at the end, one of the last things that I look for in the secret shopping process is your sales presentation. What's the presentation? What do you show your potential clients? How do you get them excited about potentially joining your gym? For this, I always recommend a visual presentation because most people are visual. Just make sure it's not distracting. So here are some of my findings from the gyms that I secret shopped. If they had a presentation, which most of them did, which is great, kudos. If they had a presentation though, it was often just like, look at us, look at this testimonial packages. And that was it. There really is no selling going on there because all you're doing is saying, we have a gym and it worked for these people, so it'll work for you. But that is not how the consumer brain works because we don't believe you. And we also don't see how you're different from the gym down the street who also has testimonials. So one thing I always point out is make sure that you have your unique value propositions laid out. So what makes you different and better from gym down the street and gym this way and gym that way? You need to stand out. So you essentially just say, we do this better than everybody else. And you can't just say our workouts are great, our coaches are great, our nutrition is great, and our community is great, because every other gym is saying the exact same thing. So you have to say something different. So think about it, spend some time on this. You don't need to know the answer right now, but I really, really recommend that you spend a little bit of time on this, time that it's due, and come up with at least 3 unique value propositions that set you apart. So again, what makes you different and better from this gym, that gym, and that gym? After the unique value propositions, that's where you could insert a couple of testimonials. So your before and after pictures and all that everybody's using, they can go right there. And make sure when you present them, you focus on relatable before and after pictures. So it's not just anybody at your gym. Depending on who I'm talking to, I'm going to speak to a particular testimonial that might stand out better for them or might connect better with them. So if I've got Mrs. Jones here who's 67, looking to lose some weight, I'm going to show a similar person to Mrs. Jones that's at a similar age that also wants to lose weight, instead of showing 23-year-old Mike who just wants to gain weight and get really strong. That is not a relatable testimonial. After the testimonials is where you would ask a temperature check question. And I like to ask this question in particular. So, scale of 1 to 10, Mrs. Jones, 10 being the highest. How confident are you in our ability to help you achieve your goals? This is important because I need to know where they stand right now before we get to the price. It's easier to deal with objections before you tell them how expensive it is when they are way more willing and open to have a conversation. So I ask that question and she'll tell me 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever it is. And if it's not a 10, I'll simply ask her, what is holding this back from being a 10? What's keeping this from being a 10? What would it take to make this a 10? Something like that, so I can get her to talk about her concerns and we can address them right then and there. From here, I would recommend considering a guarantee. Now, this has been around forever, but it was made popular by Alex Hormozzi with $100 million offers. So if you want to learn more about it, consider reading that book. Go to $100 million offers, fantastic book, lots of great tactics in there. Definitely give it a read. That said, I don't see any good guarantees with gyms right now. If I see any guarantee at all, what I commonly will see is, you want to lose 10 pounds. If you don't lose 10 pounds in the next 6 weeks, we will work with you for free until you lose 10 pounds, which is okay at best. The generic best one is money back guarantee, but there's a lot out there. Again, just read $100 million offers. Consider one for you. If it makes sense, awesome. It goes into the process right here. And then we get to the price presentation. And this is the last thing that I look at, right? Because with the secret shop, I want to see your pricing sheets. And if they are confusing, if I am confused, your potential clients are confused. And that is what I often see. There's just no sense to it. There's numbers all over the place. There's multiple numbers for each package. The packages are arranged in weird ways. I've seen them made in Canva and like nothing lines up. So visually it's unappealing. There's a lot of issues that come up at this point in the sales process. And this is what I want you to avoid. So keep it simple. Here are the simple rules for pricing. You can have no more than 3 prices on a page. 3 numbers, no more than 3 numbers. So if you have 3 packages, each with their own price, and 3 payment plans for each, that is too many prices on a page, okay? Keep it to 3 numbers. Just show gold, silver, bronze, priced at, $2,000, $1,500, $1,000, whatever. That's just it. That's all you show. Because now you're creating a leverage situation where if they cannot afford any of those and you objection handle and they're just not going to move forward, you can drop the price down. But you didn't cause a confusing situation by putting all the prices up at once. And this makes for way more effective objection handling. Because if they're looking at these numbers right here, and then I objection handle because they say I can't afford it, So if we were able to make this more affordable for you, is that something you'd be willing to give a try? They say yes, you say great, because now we're not looking at this. If there were a way that we could break these up into payments, is that something that would work better for you? Yes, great. So instead of $1,500, if you made 3 payments of $500 for our silver plan, see where I'm going with this? But you could break all these down, right? Because I just take these numbers out. So there's still golden rule, no more than 3 numbers on the page. I take these 3 numbers away, and then I go to our payment plan, right? So we could say like $750, $500, I have no idea what the math is on this, but you get the idea. So I go to, if we made 3 payments each of whatever the numbers are, would that work for you? Yes, it would. Great. Okay. Which of these options is the best fit for you at this point? I'm going to go silver. Fantastic. So we'll do 3 payments of $500. Let's get you started. And then we just move to that. Simplify, simplify, simplify. If I get confused by your pricing sheet, your clients are getting confused by your pricing sheet, you are making sales hard. Simplify. All right, so there you guys go. That is what I found through secret shopping a bunch of gyms in 2025. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guilty of any of these yourself? And here's the thing. These are all simple fixes. You just have to choose to take action. And these are all things that most people miss out on just because they're not aware. They're not looking into this. They're not calling their own gym. They don't know if their employees are actually answering the phone. If they answer the phone, they don't know what they're saying, so on and so forth. Maybe you don't know that your automations are currently not working. Something got messed up in your workflow. Who knows? Maybe you just have to log back in. You won't know unless you test it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you could, just be sure to subscribe to the channel, smash that like, all that good stuff. We drop a video every single week. and I'll see you on the next one.